Hello, y'all, and welcome back to the Gen Free Podcast. Can I get a little round of applause? Yay!
Our audio.
I am your host, Ayana Cruz, and I have my co-host with me, Sawyer Robinson.
Welcome to the
I said Robinson, bro. I'm sorry, Robertson, right with a T. Okay, anyways.
I will kill you. I'm kidding.
It's not very godly. It's not very godly.
That was so loud.
Sorry, I had to adjust my microphone.
All right. And then we also have Emily, who is adjusting her mic. Wait, what's wrong with it?
It's just too high. Yeah.
Well, now it's too low.
Well, now
Can you hear me fine, Sawyer?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can hear you. It's okay. And then we have, once again, for the second time in a row, Ireland.
The favorite.
Excuse me. There are no favorites here.
God has no favorites.
God has no favorites.
God is the favorite.
I think I gotta research that.
God has no favorites. He just has preferences.
This is a student-led podcast focusing on discovering
Clearly.
God's freedom in our everyday lives.
Boom.
Now, as always,
Boom, boom, boom.
I have an icebreaker. And this one is for my personal knowledge because I want to know.
What part of the chicken does the nugget come from?
The chicken.
We never know.
That's not the
I don't even know
icebreaker.
what it is.
Comment
What
below
is
if
your
you know what show
favorite
that's
show
from.
right now?
Show.
What?
Your favorite show right now?
Oh.
Or like movie. Or like it could be anything.
Well, I have a movie and a show, though.
Okay, let's say both.
Okay, so my show, it's so obvious. Vampire Diaries. This is the best show to ever exist.
I
Movie,
severely
Redeeming
doubt it.
Love. It is so
I couldn't
good.
finish that. I wanted to cry.
It's so good. The
That hit too
ending.
hard.
Oh
No,
my gosh, it is so good. Go watch it.
I like the two.
They're like two
different
separate. One's
drafts.
Christian
Yeah.
and one is about.
I like
Vampire.
the Vampire
Totally
Diaries, but then
different.
Redeeming Love. You
Yes.
just have the best of both worlds.
Dude, I remember when she was watching Vampire Diaries, she would literally call me crying.
It's
bawling her eyes
so
out.
sad.
And I'm just,
It is
and I'm
so
just like,
sad.
okay.
When I think
Yep.
of Vampire Diaries,
No, it was like it was the scene.
Buff,
Attractive.
It was
men.
like what
buff
scene was it?
teenagers who are actually like 30-year-old men.
They're
like,
actually like
I'll save you.
yeah.
Like that's all.
No,
I
it was
think.
like the scene.
I'll
There's
save you.
spoiler alerts,
Yeah.
but it was
I'll
the scene
save
where
you,
like
madam.
I'm sorry if you were in the middle of watching this.
She just
But
went to
I just
hear
totally
there's
spoiled,
a generation of teenagers angry at you right now.
I'm so
after
sorry.
We're
saying
going to have to put an air horn over that.
Yeah,
You should get rid of
Airborne.
that favorite
spoiler
title.
alert. Spoiler alert.
Just bleep it out.
Emily.
Sawyer goes first.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just because
What,
I
was too
wanna-
bad?
Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first.
Ladies
Ladies
first.
first.
That's why you went first.
Anyway, Sawyer, what is your favorite show right now?
Well, my favorite show of all time
on
is
Titan.
Attack on Titan.
I just know
I'm
him
so
so
smart.
well.
It's true. Yeah, I think I've said that before. And then my favorite movie,
Cars.
no,
Oh, that's I love Cars.
Ka-chow. It's probably
Chingo.
Star Wars Empire Strikes Back or A Silent Voice.
What's a silent voice?
Yeah, I have no
Silent
idea what
Voice
that
is
is.
it's an anime movie. It came out in 2016 or 17. It's about a deaf girl and a kid who bullies her, meeting again like later in life after he like learned sign language and like put effort into like trying to fix himself. It's
Wait,
a
and
really
he used
good
to bully
movie.
her?
So and
that
then
sounds
and then
sad.
they meet again, and it's a really good movie. It's on Netflix.
Sawyer,
Interesting.
I'm gonna need you to tell me that later so that I can tell my sign language teacher to.
Oh, it's and all the sign language is correct.
It is.
Oh, is it like The Quiet Place?
No,
Oh,
that is a
like
horror
what?
movie.
Like that's like, but they sign in the movie,
Well,
right?
they use ASL. Yeah.
They use ASL,
But
so that's like.
wouldn't they use the?
Me and your sister watched it.
Whoa.
Why is that a whoa? Why is that?
Oh my gosh, Sawyer.
Why is that a whoa?
It
Hang
felt
on,
like a whoa moment.
that's not a whoa moment.
was a
I'm
whoa
just
moment.
friends with her sister.
That was a whoa.
Why is that a
Like,
whoa
if you
moment?
heard that outside the context of this, that is a whoa moment.
That was a little bit of
I need a. We were like. Emily,
I am immediately going to my drink.
Emily, that was pretty good.
I need to calm down before I start crying.
It's a show that sad.
Yeah, is the show that sad? Yeah, you go first. Yeah, come on.
So, I actually have two. The one's kind of like really pop, like it's two shows and a movie.
Got it.
2 shows and 2 movies. Anyway,
Wait, you have 2 shows you like in 2 movies, or are you saying that?
2 shows, 2 movies.
All right.
Okay.
So, Wednesday.
Okay, I've heard so many good things.
I've heard good things. I'm on episode 2, and then I just stopped watching it because I got lazy. But I'm gonna have to watch it because I've heard so many things.
The fact that they use actual like Latinos to represent the characters, I heard is a big thing.
I heard she's like really good at like the part. Do you like Jenna Ortega or something?
Do you like it so
Jenna Ortega.
It's pretty good.
What episode
it's not my favorite.
Don't spoil anything.
It's on episode. I'm on episode 6.
I'm on 2.
I just like Gomez. I feel like Gomez looks so cool in this version. But
I just like the Addams Family. I think it's good.
yeah. But what was your other one?
My other one is Flash. It's
okay.
I've heard of that.
Okay,
I've heard people.
And then the movies are Titanic.
That is so sad. I cannot watch it more than once. Like I literally watched it once.
I used to be terrified.
Do you know what makes me sad? I found out on the Titanic that there was 11 dogs on that ship, and only 3 survived, and it made me bawl my eyes out, and I will never
forget
watch
the people, but the dogs.
I don't care about the people. I'm just kidding. I love
so much controversy.
I'm just kidding. I do care about the people, but it was just sad to think that the dogs.
Okay. And what? Okay.
Life or death scenario? Are you choosing people or dogs?
Dogs.
Comment below.
Comment on this podcast.
Just kidding. I do love people.
And my second movie, actually I have 3. Okay, so another movie is The Moulin Rouge.
Okay, yes, I've heard many good. I've been wanting to watch it.
It's so good. It's the musical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
You got me scared. Like I got it wrong.
Hey, sister.
No, it's what's her name? The lead girl. She has like red hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot her name.
know her name. It has someone in it.
All I know is that
I would think it would have somebody in it.
Sings the song, so that's the only reason I know about it.
It's so good.
Wait, isn't it Nicole Kidman?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
They do
I think
cover
so.
of Lady Marmalade. That's the only.
If it's
reason I
wrong.
like it.
Sorry if it's wrong. And then my third movie is the 1996 Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I
It's one of my
love this
favorite movies
movie's
of all
so
time.
good. And like young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay,
It's like he plays it so good.
I'm not even there for the
Titanic.
acting.
Yes.
I am not
It's
there for the
so
acting.
good.
It's the visuals put into that movie.
Yes.
The artistic visuals. I forget
It's
the
so
story.
good.
I feel
It's
like
so well made. Especially
First of all,
I thought it was boring.
Mercutio, with his
who's
Romeo's best friend.
Oh, yeah.
The one who dies.
He dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'm sorry. The
Oh, yeah, I
Spoiler.
forgot.
Sorry.
Spoiler alert,
Spoil.
guys.
I think if they haven't
Most
seen
people
Romeo
have
and
watched
Juliet,
it, and it's from 1996.
Or even
It's
if
been
they-
out there.
Or even if they haven't watched it, they probably read it.
The cameraman is speaking to me. Hello.
Okay. We should probably get on to our topic.
We should get on to
Yeah.
our topic.
It's been about.
Wait, did you
7
share?
minutes. No, you.
Ayana didn't share.
I mean, we should get on to our topic,
I
but
thought
should,
that
I
Romeo
guess-
and Juliet
I
was
guess.
boring.
Just share really quick.
I do. Okay, Romeo and Juliet 1996 is one of my favorite movies. But the show I'm watching right now, I'm between 2. And you guys have heard a lot about Peaky Blinders because I am on that. I have to skip a few scenes because of like certain things.
Yeah.
But man, the action in that is crisp. And the accents are great.
I haven't seen it.
It's basically just like
Neither have I.
British gang members in the
It happens.
in
British
20th
mafia?
century. They're not really like a mafia. They're kind of like a. I don't know how to describe it. You just gotta watch it. And then the Boondocks. The Boondocks. Have you guys heard of the Boondocks?
I feel like I've heard of the
It's like-
name, but I haven't seen it.
It's styled like an anime, but it's based in the Chicago suburbs around these 2 little boys who were raised in like a ghetto and now have to live in like suburbia.
Oh yeah.
Funniest thing ever. Little inappropriate, but it's
Interesting.
hilarious. Now
On
that
topic.
now that I know all your taste, I will keep that in the back of my head.
She's gonna go write it down off
I'm
camera.
gonna write it down. I'm gonna keep it in the back of my head. I don't know why. I just needed that. Now I know everything makes sense.
Your personalities.
Your
make
personalities
sense.
make sense. All right. So today we are going to talk about specifically peace, trust, and stress. Those are 3 words you can put 2 of them together, but you probably can't put stress in the component.
Stress
but
and peace together.
yeah, stress and peace. 2 different things.
Polar opposites.
But I do have, now it's not just one main question. I kind of have 2 main questions that we could bounce off of. And so the first one is, how do you have peace in the midst of stress and busyness? Mostly applying to like just day-to-day life. We're not trying to like have anything crazy. You can be stressed with so many things.
Yeah.
Murderous weapons.
Like, yeah, you could be stressed about a lot of things. But so yeah, you do look so disappointed.
No, he's also watching it.
I'm also disgusted.
Disgusted.
I can't believe Emily would do that.
Emily.
What did Emily say? I'm
kidding.
literally I'm sitting right here and I just didn't hear anything.
I was messing around.
Okay, should I repeat the question?
No.
No, I know the question.
Yeah,
I just didn't hear what she said.
Ayana was like, not drastic measures, and I said with the murderous weapon and such.
Oh,
and Sawyer's
they
like,
said murder and sweatpants, and I was like,
Don't we love a good pair of
That's right.
sweatpants?
Dude,
I
I
was like,
love
okay.
murdering sweatpants. It's great.
so
but back to the
To the script, y'all.
Okay,
topic.
I can go first. The way I find peace in stressful situations is I need to like slow down and take a step backwards. Like if I'm like specifically with like art, or if I'm like doing stuff, I need to either like take a break and step back, and sometimes I'll just like look at it and like slow myself down if I'm like feeling stressed and like feel like I'm bouncing off the walls. I just take a step back and just look at it for what it is. Or like if I had a stressful day, and then I slow down and do something like drawing or building something to like calm myself and focus that like stressful energy into something else rather than just like keeping it inside of me. So.
What are your stresses right now then? I know you said you mentioned art, but like 'cause art can be stressful.
Yeah,
Like,
it can
when
be
you're having
with
creative
like
block.
due dates and stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
specifically the class, right?
Yeah, I do take a art class, and like having to have it done like in a quick manner can sometimes be stressful.
Got it.
But like taking a step back and like looking at it and like just like slowing down instead of rushing produces a better product in the long run rather than just rushing it out and getting it done in like one sitting, in my opinion.
I mean, that makes sense. It's good to break it down.
Yeah.
I mean, as an
Yeah.
artist.
no, I just want to. How many times did Sawyer say in that like
Girl, don't
whole
point it out.
talking?
Don't.
I was
You know
just
what?
sitting there. I was
Now
like,
that you're talking about him pointing out, how do you find peace?
Yeah, how do you find peace? I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Sorry, I
couple
got hot. I had to take
things.
this off.
Looks like someone didn't
Well,
prepare
I think
an
like
answer.
when I get stressed out, I get like if I get stressed out, I get stressed out and like I cry. I like I get like that's how I like
It's true.
react. So I feel like if I'm like stressed out in school, I either just take a second, I kind of like
Don't
if
cry.
I'm like doing a project and I'm stressed out, I'll just take a second and like stop or whatever, or I just kind of look at like what I'm gonna do. That like music, always listen to music. So I feel like
Yeah,
if
I do
I'm
that
working
too.
on a project like or like anything in school and I'm stressed, like worship music, always what I go to number
Yeah.
one. But also I like to think of like the positive things I'm gonna do later, or like
No, that
kind
makes
of like
sense.
the bright side.
Now, I do have like something to add on to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hear from them later.
So most of my stress revolves around school because I have always like, especially in like elementary school where everyone got really good grades because it was easy. Even into like 7th grade, I got honor roll in 7th grade. And so I've always had like really good grades, and then 8th grade came and I almost failed. So I've always like I have 1 C and all the rest of my classes are A's and B's. And I'm like, no, that's not good enough. I push myself. So I get stressed out.
To be the best version of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. So like math class specifically, that's like because I'm not good at math. So
I felt that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that
agree.
spoke to my
so
soul.
I have a test this week. Anyway,
Never be.
math.
Math.
I get stressed out during like quizzes. I have test anxiety. And so I
Definitely.
try
that.
to like calm myself down, but like I bob my leg to like keep me preoccupied.
Yeah.
Or-
I'm literally swinging my leg.
Yeah, or like not
Okay.
good.
You're safe.
I am safe.
Yeah, one thing
space.
that I do like during a test, I do one of my friends dads taught me this. He would do it because he's a pilot, and like if he's stressed while he's flying, he'll do it's called box breathing. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, and then you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold it without any air for 4 seconds, and it like calms yourself.
Try that out. I'll try it.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have
That's
test
what I
anxiety,
use.
but like if it's like a presentation,
Oh yeah. There was this one presentation I had to do in 7th grade, and I had gotten the abbreviation of a state wrong. It was MA, and I think I said whatever the other M.
Another thing that started with an M.
Another state that started with an M.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids weren't laughing at me, but they were chuckling amongst themselves.
Yeah, and you took that.
And I took it that way, and I literally told my English teacher, I'm like, I cannot do this right now. And I went back to my desk and started crying.
Oh,
but
I felt that.
No, but just the other day, and sometimes I can't get my stress under control. I can't, like, breathe in, breathe out. So the other day at lunch, I literally just started scratching my neck. Like, I had my tray, but there was a group of people, and people make me anxious, and I just started scratching my neck.
Yeah.
And, like, I would stop, and then I'm like, no, I have to keep going. So sometimes I don't get my stress under control.
Kind of like a nervous, tick, nervous.
Yeah, or, like, when I walk down in the hallways, I go like this with my fingers, and then I'll be so anxious that it just goes without me realizing it, and it's, like, hard to stop.
Well, there is a difference, in my opinion, a difference between coping and finding peace.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, when I cope, I kind of do, like, what you do, Ireland, and what you guys do. Like, I have a breathing technique. I listen to worship music specifically.
Yeah.
Like, I'm prone to having, I have intense anxiety and depression at night specifically. And so I'll do things like that. But then there's a point where the coping doesn't work. Even, there's so much even just a worship song cannot do. So I think there's a fine line between coping and finding peace. And for me, when it comes to finding peace, I proclaim it. So I'll read the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's the most inconvenient time, I could be on the bus, right? And if I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling like unrest, I will pull up my phone. I have the Bible app, or sometimes I carry it, like a small one, around in my book bag. And I always try to have the word on me, because for me, it does give me peace. It is my source of comfort when I am going through things. And so for that trust is beyond a coping mechanism for me. That is my peace. Like I said, there's coping and there's peace. And so leading back into the question on my part, I would say when I'm in the midst of stress, I find peace through the word of God, specifically the Psalms. I stick a lot to the Psalms and the Proverbs. I do understand better in more poetic writing than I do just like, here's the text, read the text. And so I think how do you guys find peace? Because I believe peace is essentially spiritual, and it does have a connection to God. It has a connection to Christ.
Yeah.
So when the coping doesn't work, how do you guys turn this to Christ?
I'm a little bit dramatic, so I will cry. I will just be like, because I push myself to the very end. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. So I'll put in my music. I have little concerts in my bedroom late at night. So I'll put in my music, and then there will be this one song, and I just break. And I'm like, God, I need you. Just the other night, I found out something a little personal. And so I was like, God, I sat in my living room crying for 20 minutes. And it was just, I was writing it down in my journal. And then I heard him say something, and I physically said out loud, like, God, this is what this is me. And then as soon as I just started talking and was like, he showed me something, and I just felt instant peace. So it's kind of like expressing myself to him, like having an honest relationship with him, not just like, yes, let me read my Bible, let me pray the good prayer, like, no, like having a relationship with him is how I find peace, because then I remember
like a bonding, like you bond with
like
Christ.
And I'm having trouble, like I don't read the word every day, I don't talk to God every day, just because sometimes the Bible doesn't make sense. Sometimes I don't remember that he's there. Like, oh yeah, he has 7 billion people in the world he's supposed to be taking care of.
8 billion now.
8 billion.
You guys heard that? It's crazy, but back to what you're saying.
And so it's like, then when I'm down at my lowest and I remember, oh yeah, he's God. He can be everywhere at once.
Yeah. And then you kind of get your peace.
And then I get peace, and I'm like, he's right here beside me. Yeah. He knows what I want. He knows my entire life before I know what I'm going to wear tomorrow.
Which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love thinking that way. Like, it's so awesome to know that somebody knows what's going to happen, and then it takes the stress off of, like, I don't have to try so hard to get the future that I want, because I already have a future that's what's good, what's right for me.
I thought you were gonna cry there for a second.
Yeah, no, I did too. I was like, no,
where's
I
the
don't have-
tissues?
that's what I was
I think we
literally
should
saying.
keep a box of tissues here.
I think so.
I mean, we have like 6 of them in here anyway.
Yeah, like I think we did a
we literally did a
TikTok
TikTok
them.
about that.
Yeah.
And we have none at this table. We have none at this table. How stupid of me not to grab one.
There's tissues everywhere. But
There's tissues everywhere but this table. I feel like this table, I feel
lit-
one of these
there's a box at every
Oh.
table
Yeah,
there's a
besides this one.
exactly. No, I feel like.
Oh, you're gonna
for
throw the
me-
box? Throw the box. I got it.
That was so loud.
My ears.
That was.
I am so sorry.
So
Nah, you're
loud.
good.
Trigger warning, audience. Late trigger warning.
No, but I was like, just thinking about it makes me so happy. I don't usually smile this big. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm good.
No, you're good. Sure, you're good.
I'll let somebody else talk.
So, like,
Pass it on.
the time I definitely feel the most peace is after an encounter or after a session of worship. So like for me, like after an encounter, I just feel like absolute clarity and just like a weight lifted off of my shoulders.
Gotcha.
And it's I don't know if it's a mixture of like tiredness after worshiping him for a while, and it's just like something that he puts over me, or if it's something else. But yeah, that's definitely the time I feel the most peace. So I try to bring that into like my everyday life with worship, and listening to it all the time. So yeah.
So, okay, so I know you mentioned listening to it. I do have another question. So you said you apply it to day-to-day life. Do you think that like worship could be the small things too? Like everything that just like,
Definitely.
Like, what would you say is your sorry to ask questions like
Interrogation.
Like interrogation.
Just get a little.
so we get the
what
light.
is your small sense of worship? Not even like something that someone would think of as worship. You know, we usually think of the arts, but
I'd say definitely like being creative in unusual formats, because I like to
unusual formats.
I build stuff out of Legos and like build stuff out of cardboard.
Fun.
And I like to I take it into like when I'm building and like try to have like little like secret things that normal people wouldn't really know are a reference to like God and like in the word in my stuff. So like if you don't like know it's there, you're not gonna see it.
Got it.
And it's a little thing that I like to do, and it's pretty cool.
You should show us some of your little builds.
Negative.
Negative.
Dang.
Dang.
Are they at
They're
school?
cool.
Yeah, I'm at
classrooms.
school. One of my teachers, it was in my cinematics class, so I had to make a video using like Legos, and then I ended up building like stuff there anyway, and then he told me I could just bring all my stuff in. So me and him are working on a city in like one of the back rooms at school.
You and
Z?
what, a teacher?
Yeah, and
That's so
a few
cool.
other kids in my class.
That is
So
That's awesome.
you could like that's like you could like a small little like
yeah, so we just like claimed a table.
You're
Z?
building a city.
Yeah.
He's my favorite teacher, and
Oh,
I've
he's
never
awesome.
had him.
Oh, he's
Never
great.
had it?
I've never had him.
There's always that one teacher.
Oh, he's
is.
great. Yeah, he's awesome.
Everyone loves him.
Ireland. We haven't heard.
You called her Ireland.
I know that's
Oh,
not my
I'm
name.
sorry. I'm
Like the
sorry.
That's a
country.
country.
Man,
I forgot. I
you've
added a
gotten-
D.
Yeah.
Let me take away the D. Ireland.
Yeah.
And
Ireland.
Honestly, I feel like the right thing to say is like, oh, I always resort to prayer, but that's like not the case. I think it should be the case, but like if
Yeah.
I'm at school and I'm busy, I'm not gonna be like, oh, let me just take a minute and pray.
Let me
because,
just
like,
drop down to my knees, right, and then hold
Yeah.
and pray.
because it's not. I think one thing I do, small groups for worship or for youth group.
Yeah.
Mine's like really small, so we're really close. So I feel like we always text like if we're going through something, because like youth leaders are great and they're
Yeah.
always like there. So I think that's definitely one thing I resort to. But like if I'm like in my room by myself, it's hard for me to just sit down and read the Bible. Like for me personally,
I
like
deal with that as well.
like it's just so hard for me.
Yeah.
So I think like the way that I kind of like resort to is like I like worship, or like I just bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you for not sneezing on the microphone.
Or I
Yeah,
just
that's why I
I'm
That's why I
simply
turned
like
around.
talk to him or write in my journal.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I feel most at peace. I don't have a specific time. I think it's just whenever I'm talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think for the longest time I had a hard time figuring out like what's his voice and what's not, you know?
Yeah.
There's
so-
always a
Like
point.
telling the
But
difference.
I think now that I'm getting more like learning his
thought.
voice more, I think that's when whenever
Yeah.
I hear his voice is when I feel most at peace, but there's not like a specific time.
Got it.
It's just
Yeah.
kind of.
Emily, you're like shaking in your chair. What is it? We must know.
There was.
I saw.
No, I'm not crying. I was fixing my mascara.
Right, this is gonna be the game.
I'll keep them, okay?
Ashley
As you
puts
put them away.
Okay, let me get to my point. I've been hearing this thing. I was at a something, and Brian Connolly, the founder,
Yeah.
The founder.
Founder of
The founding
FLB
father.
Ministry. Well, is that what it's called? Anyways, continue.
So weird.
He had this discipleship class
Oh
over
yeah.
the summer.
Remember
Over the summer.
that?
I'm pretty sure this is when he said it. If not, I'm apologize
Because you sat right next to me.
for most of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Continue.
Keep her accountable.
And he said there's 3 voices you hear.
Oh,
Either 2 or
Jessica
3.
Tate said that. It said
Jessica
the first
Tate.
one's,
The first one's God.
second one's you questioning if that was God.
Yeah.
One is the devil saying no, that wasn't.
Like,
Look at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't even there.
Yeah, it was the.
And I know that.
Yeah, she was right, and then
I was there for
the
that
last
day.
part was that the devil's telling you that you were right,
That
thinking
you
that
were
it's
right,
just
yeah.
you.
and that's happened so many times because when I saw that thing, I was like, okay, I saw it, and there were figures, and then I started. So I saw my future,
No, that's something that is
and like
boarded up here.
You saw your future.
I saw my future. Like I had found out that this guy wasn't going to be the one that I was with. He's going to be with my friend because they both heard the same thing from God. And I was like, okay. And I started bawling. And then I closed my eyes because it hurt to keep them open. And then I tried opening them and they hurt. So I closed them. And I saw like my husband, a black figure, and then 4 kids instead of 2, like I've always wanted.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I knew. And then like I opened my eyes and then I was like, no, it still hurts. So I closed them again and I started seeing people. Like I put people I knew that I found attractive in there. And then I was like, no, that's not.
Son of God.
That's not, yeah, like that's me putting them in there. And then I was like, then I went back to that and I was like, I just need time away from the situation.
Yeah.
Let me
So
pray.
like you didn't see like faces, you just saw figures.
I saw like black figures with like question marks. So it was so cool.
But
That's cool. I meant I didn't mean it like weird in a bad way. I meant like, oh, that's so weird.
Like,
Like cool. I didn't mean it like
that
in
is
like
in
a
your
bad.
vocabulary.
It's different connotations.
Yeah.
no, just
Instead of like that's so weird, you're like
so
that is so weird. Like
yeah.
as
because I've been
pondering.
struggling with like
Yeah.
I've also heard that like, oh, you need to trust me more before I can trust you with another entire human being.
Oh,
Yeah.
I felt that.
So
Definitely.
it's like, because I've always wanted a relationship. I'm the type of person who loves love. So I'm like,
Yeah.
relationship. But I'm not ready. I don't think I'm ready for one. I need to trust him more.
Yeah.
And I'm getting there slowly but surely because now I write in my journal every day.
Yeah.
But he's like, and I was like, I don't want to die alone. And so he was like, you aren't going to.
It's good that you're going to the source of love with your
Yeah.
questions of love.
Yeah.
Because that
Definitely.
is trust. And you're and
I'm
I
so
just
happy.
I just think it's amazing that even you will share that with us. And I
Yeah,
thank you for
I
sharing
feel
that
like-
with us.
It's sometimes people are like, oh no, it's too personal. Or like, it's too weird. Like, I told my friend the other day, like,
Who was it that said God was weird on the podcast? Someone said that like a few episodes back. That God was weird. So like there's different methods.
yeah, and like,
It was probably me. I don't know.
I was gonna say Ramona or Zoyer.
it was either Ramon.
It was Grace.
it was Grace.
Grace. Yeah, I see her in my head.
Yeah.
God
Sitting
is
here.
yeah.
And it's just like, I told my friend and she was like, bro, God talking to you? You're out of your mind. I'm like, but I'm not. You're
Yeah.
just lost. And it's like, no,
You're just lost.
That's not in the lap app, but like
Okay.
it's the way you said it. I love you. Emily.
no, I feel like I'm talking so much.
It's okay.
You're
It's
good.
okay.
And like to what you were talking about earlier with the Jessica Tate quote, with I feel like I definitely felt that, especially the night before I got up and talked at the Shout 2 years ago.
I think it was last year.
It
Sawyer.
was the one up at Camp
were-
Bonjour.
Yeah.
My
That
timelines
was
are
last
getting mixed
year.
up. It's fine.
I've been stuck in the same too.
Yeah,
I think you
it's
came-
fine.
After the Shout 2 years ago, right? Oh no, you
No,
were.
I was there.
Oh, you were
Okay,
there.
just
I forgot about
after-
that.
So,
timeline's
but
confusing.
like the night that the night before, I thought I had felt God tell me to go and speak about my struggle with like pornography, and then like I chickened out and didn't do it, and then later that night when I was laying in bed, I just couldn't fall asleep, and I was still like thinking about it. But and I think that was definitely the enemy telling me that it wasn't God and that I shouldn't get up and say it. But then the day after I did it anyway.
That was a beautiful thing
and we
to
saw
watch.
a bunch of people get touched by it and get set free of it. And so that's just like a testimony to what she said in that quote. So
Took
Yeah,
you
I
trust in God.
yeah.
It's so crazy because when you went up there and you shared that, you can look at people and be like, just outwardly, like they would never do that. And then you're like, I want to be more like them because they would never do that.
Well, I think it was cool because like Brian could say it, but also Brian's like an adult, so seeing like another teen
Do it.
Yeah.
confessing
Kinda,
to
if you-
it,
it's-
it like
God was just
And
in the moment.
I had never told anyone. Well, I mean, technically, I told Brian
So that
Yeah.
you
when
were
I
doing
went
it.
up.
Did
You didn't tell
Brian know
anyone
you were
before that day.
telling
No.
what you were saying? Yeah, because I remember. I think he said.
Well,
that.
I mean, I told him I got something. I need to say something, and he was like, "Sure, why not? Go for it."
you get up on the platform and then you're like, "All right."
But he trusted me anyway, so
I mean,
I was
yeah,
like,
you're very trustworthy. You are.
We think.
Yeah.
we
Don't
think
betray
you
that
ne-
trust.
You never know. No.
what?
It was the
See,
Twilight
this is
Zone.
on both.
Twilight?
This is on both sides. You can press one to turn it on, and I just go boop.
Now I do have a few.
I was gonna do the Twilight Zone and then just like stare into the camera since you said I'm
just so
untrustworthy.
ominously. But y'all,
Yeah.
I know we did pick up a few Bible verses that I think we should get into.
Definitely.
All right. Now, actually, this is maybe I should have just used my phone because finding these chapters are going to be hard.
Yep.
But that's not
Okay.
gonna like.
You know what? I'm going to task
true.
y'all because I do want to say something else. Okay, Sawyer,
Yeah.
my lovely co-host.
Yep.
Are you ready for
Yep.
this big,
Deep question.
straining task?
I think so.
All right. Can you find Isaiah 26:3 in the Bible for me?
No.
Straining task.
No, as he opens the Bible. All right.
You could
so
use your phone that's right there, Sawyer, if you wanted to.
No,
but the
phone's on the
Bible is
Okay,
so
I'm
authentic.
sorry.
Like feeling the pages, like this is history in your hands. It's history in the making. Some of this hasn't even come to pass yet. Like I
Isaiah
think
what?
it's so beautiful. Isaiah 26:3.
Got it.
He's almost there, y'all.
Because this is his Bible.
Well, it is his Bible. I don't know.
It's the Faith Like Birds Bible.
It has become the official Bible of the Gen Free podcast.
Even though we used mine the first week. But
Oh well, no, this one's official.
this one's
That
Yours
was
is
a yawn.
unofficial.
That was the longest yawn of my life.
Did you find it?
Yes, I did.
yawn.
Would you love to read it for us?
Love. That's a passionate word.
You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all who's those. All. We
okay.
we restart. Take two. Take two.
Take
Here we
two.
go.
Take two.
You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you.
One more time for good measure.
He's got a verdict.
So
You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you.
One more time.
no, one more time. I just want to look at it because like I'm trying to develop what I'm saying because even just reading that last point, all who trust in you, all who thoughts are fixed on you. So it's basically saying you will not have peace apart from this. And I think a lot of times and even like, yeah, that is like you're saying that
that's
is
like
strong.
Knife cuttingly, like,
It's
Hard.
because he's
Like,
God is
it's-
essentially
yeah.
saying without my peace, without my love, without my grace, peace cannot come onto you. And I feel like
Yeah.
I hear stuff like, oh, we need peace now, cease the violence, we need world peace. Well, that cannot
Yeah.
happen.
be achieved in greater things, and if we're not applying it to smaller things, and the only way to apply it to our small things in life, our busyness, our schoolwork, our academics, our stress,
Yeah.
is to fix our eyes, and not even eyes, our thoughts on Christ, and fix our on Christ, on God. And without doing that, how can everything be aligned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like when I see it, how stress creeps in. It's when sometimes we can get our eyes off of it. I know you were saying like how you feel it most in encounters. Do you ever feel like sometimes after an encounter you might like get a little shaky with your walk? Like or
Sometimes.
sometimes,
Yeah.
not all the
Sometimes
time.
I'll feel like I'm falling backwards, like after
Just fall. No, I'm kidding.
like Jessica Tate, like she touched on like after like a youth conference or something, you're on a Jesus high, and she always says there's no reason to fall back. And like she told a story about like after a youth conference, she got absolutely wrecked by God, and she was on that Jesus high, and then she got back and she was still on it, and then somebody told her that she needs to come down a notch. She said, no, I don't want to. This is great. And so
I literally sat over here thinking you meant physically stumbling.
Oh, you're over here like.
No, because I was going to be like, I've had encounters where I'm just
I've seen that before.
I've just been like,
Someone physically stumble?
Yeah, like they would like they had trouble walking afterwards. It was it was at
I've
one of the
seen
shouts.
that.
Yeah.
oh yeah, just yesterday at youth group, Brian was up at the Freedom Rally, and he was like doing his thing, being Brian,
Yeah.
and I was just like,
Christ through Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like 4 years ago at youth. It was, Brian was still the youth pastor, so it was a while ago. And one kid in the back couldn't walk, and I think Brian or somebody had to carry him out to his car.
Yeah.
I see
Like
what you're
it was
saying.
just-
No, not mean
Yeah.
to interrupt
No,
you, but
yeah.
Go
yeah.
ahead.
and I literally stumbled. And then just a couple months ago, early November, I was at a youth event, and I was just laughing. I was like, I wasn't sure if I was happy or if I was supposed to be sad, and I was just crying.
Yeah.
And then this girl came over to me, and she was like, yeah, like, more Lord. And I kept crying. And then my mom came over. Because she's a youth leader. And she came over, and she gave me a hug, and boom, I
Your
fell
mom
to the
gives
floor.
great hugs. Sorry, there's God when she hugs. Like, you feel a presence when your mom hugs. That is
And, like-
That's her
Christ.
superpower.
Yeah, that is your
She has
superpower.
godly hugs.
And
Godly
boom.
hugs.
I was like, what if you
That's
never
staying
hugged my mom?
crazy.
Boom.
No,
God
boom, I was
hug.
just
Hugs
out
off
on
the
the floor
couch.
laughing and crying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it was, love God, he's so cool.
Well, I think for me, I mean, hey, I love God too. Like, he's so cool. But I asked Sawyer that because I've had a few encounters and still have fallen hard
Yeah.
off my Jesus
Yeah. I
high.
definitely
agree,
have
yeah.
before.
And we were kind of talking about that at the Freedom Rally yesterday, just touching on a little bit on how you can, like, sometimes you could be, because of strongholds, like, after your house is clean,
Yeah.
like, your inside, like, your heart is clean, but you haven't put the Lord in there. You have not trusted the Lord yet. And therefore, it brings in room for the same things or even different things to creep back into your life. And I'd say that was the case to me because I've just struggled with certain things. So, like, for example, like, I struggle with certain peer pressures to do certain things I didn't want to do. I was in a bad relationship at one point in which the person who filled my heart was not God. It was actually, I was making an idol out of the person I was with. And I think because of that, like, my trust being off of God, even though at that point I did accept him, I had an encounter and I found, like, the love of God, but because I didn't trust in him, because I was afraid to trust in him, it didn't register in me, like, what we're reading here, and therefore I had no peace.
Yeah.
Because if there's anything else in your heart, if there's even nothing in your heart, then you have no peace. It makes sense why you are stressed. It makes sense why you struggle and why you deal with certain things, because you're not actively seeking. He's not in your thoughts. You kind of think, maybe you think of him as a different, like a separate entity. God is just there when I need him. Well, no, you need to put your trust in him above all human beings, above your mom and your dad. I mean, not saying that you shouldn't honor them and you shouldn't love them, but above all else, your trust needs to be in God in order for things to align.
Yeah.
And therefore your stress, your worries will cease because you're turning to your creator for that.
I have a picture that I got from the shout. Somebody drew it.
Tessa. Our lovely Tessa.
And it's a prophetic drawing. And it's this girl sitting down with, like, little lines. They're little lines on the paper, but it's like confusion. And she's giving her heart to Jesus. And it's hanging up in my bedroom on my wall. I need more tape for it, but that's besides the point. And it's like, I'm giving you my heart, while I'm confused, like no matter how confused I am with whatever situation I'm going through, I give it all to you.
Yeah.
Or in the sense that I give you my heart so that you can help me be clear in my thinking.
Yeah.
Like there's different ways to perceive it, but that popped in my head when you were like, you said something. I'm blanking out on literally everything.
It's been a long Monday.
And
I do that when I'm like half the time at youth events, if I'm so touched by God, I forget what happens.
You forget, but yeah.
Like,
no,
and then I'll just like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Or like it's significant events or like things that happen, like when Swoy went up on stage at the Shout. But I can't remember what Will Hart preached about.
I do.
But I'm like, I know he preached and I know he said good things that I needed to hear. I just don't remember.
It doesn't register so much as a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, Sawyer, you were going to say something.
I'm sorry. I'm everywhere.
Oh, you're good.
It's okay. It's okay.
Definitely, like, even after I got up and spoke at the Shout, I still, like, dealt with pornography after that. Like, I'd still, talking about, like cleaning house and, like, something needs to fill that space.
Yeah.
So, like, I cleaned the house, but then it was filled back up with it again after I had cleaned it. So, like, we need to, like, when we clean house, we don't need to leave it. We shouldn't leave it empty. We need to fill it with something righteous, and we need to fill it with the Lord rather than leaving it empty and falling back into sin as before.
I feel like
it's the only way peace can come.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but you said that how like even after you're
and like
up there,
I had talked to Brian about it. Like he said, like I was the one who had the courage to get up there and talk about it, but I still dealt with it.
I have gone to websites that I should not, like things that I should not have been reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I didn't read at all during the Shout, and I didn't feel the need to. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I knew it was wrong. I knew I shouldn't, but I just kept going back and kept going back. And I would like to report that I've been since like August. No.
That you haven't dealt with it.
I haven't, like, it just stopped one weekend. I think the weekend we went to Airborne.
Nice.
Sometimes strongholds.
That's
just
awesome.
make
It was
it-
like-
that's
Yeah.
excellent.
It was definitely months ago, and I didn't even realize that I, like, hadn't gone to it. Mm-hmm. And then I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I wrote in my journal, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you, God.
awesome.
And I
That
haven't,
is so cool.
like, I think about it still, and I'm like, oh, wow, I wonder, like, how this story's doing. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
It can go be
Yeah.
there, and I will be here. I have better stories.
Yeah.
Would you say you, after that kind of like broke, a peace has come onto your life? Are you
I'm
feeling
less anxious.
You're less anxious.
Like,
that's
I was,
excellent.
because my parents, this has been something that I've been struggling with for 3 years.
I'm listening. I'm just looking as well.
And I was like, okay. And then I got grounded for an entire summer because of it. And I still went back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And I would like hide it from my parents because during that time period, I learned how to clear my browser history.
Yeah.
And so I would clear it every time. Every time before I went to bed, when I got home from school, like, it was just so bad. And then I can let my parents go through my phone. I can let...
You couldn't, or you could?
I can now.
Oh.
Because even though I knew I cleared my search history, there was always, like, the fear that I didn't.
Yeah.
Because they don't know that you can just Google things instead of going to Chrome.
Old people.
They went to Chrome every time, and I would, like, I'd tense up. But now I don't do that. And I feel so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
Sorry,
what
I'm
it's about?
talking a lot.
No,
It's
you're
okay.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
you have a lot to
I know.
share. You have
I
a lot to
just-
bring to the table.
Yeah. But I think it's like those, like everything, like the Shout and like all those
Yeah.
events are like, they're good and they're good ways to get like encounters. But like also I feel like for me personally, like I always thought, okay, I can't get one until like this event. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll experience Jesus when we go to this event.
isn't
you know?
even the
And like you
case.
go from event to event. But like you gotta like that you can get that
You gotta
just
have
from
the
sitting in
hunger,
your room.
yeah.
You just gotta be hungry.
Yeah.
Like it just takes hunger. Like it doesn't take
It doesn't take a huge
Brian
event.
or Jessica or Will like to give you those encounters.
Or even like the greatest like speaker of all
Yeah.
Or,
time.
like, whatever.
Or it
Yeah.
doesn't take that. It doesn't take them. It doesn't
Yeah.
take what they're gonna say. It
'Cause
takes.
I feel
takes
like
God.
probably one of my best encounters, I was literally like, it was like probably like 11:30 at night. And I was just sitting in my bed
Yeah.
and I was just reading the Bible. And
Yeah.
that was probably the best encounter I've ever had
Yeah.
out of like all the events I've gone to. And it kind of made me realize, I was like, I don't need those. Like, they're good. And they're like a good, like, kind of like refresher. Being like, yes, like, okay, this is like, God is good. But like, you don't need those. And I think that was something that like I struggled with, thinking that, oh, I can't experience God until I go to an event like this.
Yeah.
So we're down to like the last few, like 2 minutes. So could you possibly share what you wanted to say?
Yeah.
I know you wanted to talk, and then I want to read this verse and we
Yes.
could close out.
So I had heard something somewhere, I don't remember where, and it was like, there will be one hit and the glass shatters a little bit. Second hit and it shatters more. And another one until it breaks. And it's like, you could be struggling with certain things for so long. It's just hit after hit after hit after hit until it just shatters.
Yeah.
Okay, read.
Yeah. All right. So I want to close out with this verse. It is Matthew 11:28, in which it says, "Then Jesus said, 'Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light." And I don't know, I think that's just beautiful to meditate on, because whether we use like some of the like the key words, like, you know, peace or rest, or that we were kind of like talking about earlier, it still all connects back to the, like, everything we were saying connects to the part that apart from trusting God, like if you guys hadn't trusted God, then you wouldn't find peace.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had that peace. And yeah, you still deal with your strongholds sometimes, and they break. They eventually break, as you said. And I'm so, like, that was such a glorious testimony, and that's excellent. And yeah, y'all, this was beautiful. And I think I'm glad that you guys were all on today. I think you guys really had something to bring. So don't act like you had nothing to bring to the table, because you have a lot to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm definitely thankful for you guys
Oh,
in
yeah.
this podcast.
I just
Second that.
I feel like I talk too much.
You're good.
Girl, it's a podcast.
Yeah.
This is
It's
meant for
literally
talking.
about
People
talking.
literally sit here
I
and
know,
listen.
Yeah, it's
like,
meant for talking.
But like, you were talking about
You're
things that
listening.
were important.
Yeah.
You weren't just talking
Yeah.
about.
I know.
It wasn't just gibberish.
Rambling.
It tied back into what we had to say.
My nails
So
are done. They're chipped. They're all chipped. And
I
broken.
do. I personally want to close out in prayer today. Does anybody
Sounds good.
have any objections?
No, Ayana,
to
you
my
aren't allowed
request?
to pray.
I'm not allowed to pray. Oh man.
The
What
host
am I
is
gonna
not
do?
allowed to
I'm
pray.
not allowed to talk. I'm the host. All right. Y'all
Only
ready?
the host.
Y'all ready to
Yep.
close this out?
Yes.
All right. Jesus, I thank you for this day. I thank you for everything that you have given us. I'm just thankful for the group of people I'm surrounded by, these interns, these workers, and that we're able to do something like this for your glory and not our own. I praise you for just the topic that Tessa really helped us get developed, because I think it is important to understand why we cannot have peace apart from you, and how we can apply it to our own lives, and how even to give you the glory in times when we backslide or we don't have the best days. And I just thank you for today and for everything that you have done during this episode. And I love you very much, and I know you love all your children. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. A little round of
All
applause.
right,
End of
all right.
episode 5.
Just smack
5. He hit the clap button, didn't he?
You
I
did hear
did.
the clap
Hit the
button.
clap button.
Which-
All right. Audience.
You can hear.
Yes,
the
y'all.
audience
Y'all can hear me,
I'm
right?
still looking at you, Jeff.
Jeff is not real.
Jeff is imaginary.
He knows.
We would greatly recommend and love dearly if
Please.
you would follow us at Faith Like Birds on TikTok, on Instagram, and
YouTube.
do we have a Facebook? Not a Facebook. I wanted to say Facebook. If we do have a Facebook, then you can follow that too.
We have
And
a
then
Facebook.
our YouTube.
YouTube.
And with that,
Boom.
I close out.
Thank
Good
you for
night,
watching.
y'all.
You aren't allowed to close out. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I am closing out.
Boom.
Boom.
Closing out.
Hit the
Let's
button,
go. Outta
Sawyer.
here.